Okay, what is up there, YouTube? This is J Man Time, and today I have yet another video on yet another series of new rare weapons that have been manufactured by a variety of nations. And in this video, we're going to go over some new armored fighting vehicles that have begun to be manufactured in the nation of Mongolia. Yes, Mongolia, a nation that sits in between China and Russia, has now begun manufacturing some of their own light infantry fighting vehicles starting in the year of 2021 and still manufacturing them now as of the year of 2025. So let's go over some of the new armored fighting vehicles that have been manufactured in Mongolia. Now, historically, Mongolia has been relying on armored fighting vehicles manufactured both in Russia and before that, the Soviet Union. But since the 1990s and early 2000s, they have been relying on some vehicles manufactured in China. But since 2021, they have started manufacturing some of their own light infantry fighting vehicles. And these vehicles are meant to replace many of the older Soviet and early to late 1990s era Russian and Chinese made vehicles, and are meant to allow Mongolia to have their own armored fighting vehicle manufacturing industry, something that many countries in Asia have been trying to do since the end of the Soviet era and since the end of the Cold War in general. So let's go over these rare vehicles that have been in production in Mongolia since the year of 2021. And the first vehicle on the list is actually a dune buggy type vehicle, or a light strike vehicle, or a light armored dune buggy type vehicle known as the Khalinset, also known as the Scorpion in English. And this is a light strike armored vehicle that was designed in 2021 and entered production, limited production, in the year of 2022. This vehicle here is a dune buggy style vehicle, a armored or semi-armored dune buggy like vehicle. Its main armament is either one 12.7mm NSV, Torod, or older Soviet era DSHK heavy machine gun. Its armor thickness is largely unknown. It could be anywhere from between 6 to 7 millimeters of spaced armor, or 6 to 12 millimeters of spaced armor over vital areas, and it has a crew of between 2 and 3. Now, this vehicle was shown for the first time at a Mongolian military parade in the year of 2022, and since then, at least about 20 of these have been spotted in and around Mongolia, being used by some of the Mongolian military units or army units. This vehicle here was the first vehicle to be unveiled, but was not the last. And again, this is a dune buggy style vehicle, which is becoming very popular since the war in Ukraine started. But this vehicle was actually designed a year before the Ukraine war, which began in the year of 2022. The Khalinset or Scorpion vehicle, dune buggy type vehicle from the year of 2021-2022. Another vehicle that has entered production in the same year of 2022 was the Mongolian Masali or Gobi Bear vehicle. And this is actually a Mongolian mine-protected vehicle-based infantry mobile vehicle that was designed in 2021 and into production in the year of 2022. It was actually based on the German Mercedes-Benz Wolf W461 series of utility vehicle used by the German Bundeswehr or German Armed Forces. Now, Mongolia has been importing German vehicles as well as Russian and Chinese vehicles, and they also import the German-made Mercedes-Benz Wolf Model W461, which they use as a light utility vehicle for the Mongolian Armed Forces. But they also started manufacturing these armored MRAP type variants known as the Masali or Gobi Bear, again starting in 2022. The main armament is either one 12.7mm NSV, Torod, or DSHK heavy machine gun. The armor again is unknown, but it could be anywhere from 6 to 7 millimeters of spaced armor or 6 to 12 millimeters of spaced armor over vital areas. Speed is 115 kilometers per hour or 51 miles per hour, and it has a crew of 2 to 4 plus one machine gunner on the roof or any turret on the roof. This vehicle again was unveiled in the same parade in the year of 2022, and since 2022, at least about 20 or so of these vehicles have been spotted in use by various units of the Mongolian Armed Forces. So this vehicle is in production, and if the Mongolians were to export this vehicle, it could be useful as an export vehicle and would be one of the first vehicles to be exported by Mongolia if that ever happened. the Masali or Gobi Bear from 2022, an MRAP-based infantry mobile vehicle from the year of 2022. There's also a second version of the Masali series, and this one has less armor and does not have the armored shield of the first variant. This is a more simplified version that was also unveiled in the same year, 2022. This version here is more like a technical type vehicle than a true armored fighting vehicle. And the second variant of the Masali was shown at both an Army Expo and the aforementioned military parade in 2022, and at least 20 or more of these vehicles have also been spotted in use by the Mongolian armed forces since the year of 2022. The Masali 2.0, or the second variant of the Gobi Bear lightly armored MRAP type infantry mobile armored fighting vehicle. And the last version of this vehicle is known as the Chono, or Wolf. The Chono is a semi-armored MRAP-based infantry mobile vehicle, again designed in 2021 and entered production in 2022. And again, it is also based on the German Mercedes-Benz Wolf Model W461. This version here is used as a drone launching vehicle. This is an armored or semi-armored drone launching vehicle that is used to launch one of Mongolia's newly produced drone or UAV, unmanned reconnaissance UAV type aerial vehicles that also entered production on the list. This vehicle pretty much only serves as a drone launching vehicle. It is basically the same as the second version of the Masali or Gobi Bear, but it is primarily used to launch drones. And in fact, the drone is the next weapon on this list. The next weapon on the list is actually the first Mongolian-made, Mongolian-produced unmanned reconnaissance vehicle, known as the Joel-1, also known as the Yol-1. This is a light, unmanned reconnaissance drone or reconnaissance aerial vehicle that was designed in 2021 and entered production in 2022. It has no weapon systems at all. It is a basic surveillance drone fitted with only a camera. It has a maximum range of 100 kilometers and a flight ceiling of 3,000 meters. Its speed is unknown, but so far only a small number of these, about 5 or 10 of these unmanned drones, have been spotted off and on since the year of 2022. Again, this is the first mass-produced or semi-produced Mongolian-made reconnaissance vehicle or unmanned reconnaissance vehicle or drone. And again, it entered service in the year of 2022 for the Mongolian armed forces. There is also a larger version of the Joel-1/Yol-2 known as the Borodach-2. And this is a much larger UAV with a tail boom configuration. This is a canard type UAV with a tail boom configuration. It is very similar to many of the Western style UAVs that have been used over the years, and even some of the Russian/Ukrainian UAVs we have seen being used in the Ukraine war, except this one was designed just before the Ukraine war in 2021. The Borodach 2 or the Yol-2 also entered limited production or at least limited testing in the year of 2022, and at least 2 or 3 of these UAVs have been spotted being tested by the Mongolian armed forces since the year of 2022. And that's basically it. These are all the vehicles and UAVs that I could find so far that have been developed by Mongolia since the year of 2021, 2022. And it does show that Mongolia is trying to move away from just relying solely on Russia and China for weapons. And Mongolia is now trying to manufacture some of their own infantry fighting vehicles and UAVs. And this comes at a good time as both Russia and China are largely focused on both NATO and the United States. So if for the Mongolians, who are trying to be neutral, this is a perfect time for them to start manufacturing some of their own military equipment so that they don't have to rely so heavily on Russia and China for weapons. But which of these were your favorite? If I had to choose, I guess the first vehicle on the list, the Khalinset or Scorpion, a light strike armored dune buggy style vehicle from 2022, would be my favorite on the list, as armored dune buggies seem to be coming in style when it comes to most modern conflicts. The Ukraine war, during the Ukraine war, both the Ukrainians and the Russians also used armored dune buggies, although armored dune buggies as a whole have been in production since the 1970s and 80s, really. But they seem to be coming back in style due to the advancements in modern military technology that we've seen so far during the Ukraine war, but also during the wars in Sudan and the civil wars in Syria and Libya. So what do you think of these vehicles? These newly manufactured vehicles and UAVs manufactured by Mongolia? Please tell me in the comment section below. And until next time, this was J-Man Time signing off.